What's up, guys? So finally getting around to doing the third part to my recovery. The first two were just my journey into addiction, how I got started, and then how I couldn't stop. And this video is about my recovery. And I'm going to break this down into two videos after going like after my post rehab, or I should say in the rooms after I left recovery video. So I'm just going to take it back to where it all began before my recovery. So basically, I was on that 5-day bender, like I said in the last video, and I I was just suicidal, wanted to kill myself. I was broken, and I just didn't want to live anymore. And then finally, my wife convinced me to come home, and I came home, and this is in 2014 February. I came home, and the next day I walked into AA, and that's where I started my journey in recovery. Man, I was so broken, and I just didn't know how to live my life anymore without abusing substances. And when you get into recovery, it just opens up another can of worms of who you are. So yeah, I walked in recovery. I did the whole thing. Hey, I'm Craig. I'm an alcoholic addict. Put my hand up and said I needed help. Got my chip, and then that's my progression. I just went to meetings every day. I went to meetings every day. I got a sponsor. I started working the steps. I was familiar with the program when I was younger, back and forth, part-time, but I never ever stuck to it, so I decided, this time I was just broken, and I had the, what they told me when I was in the rooms, that I had the gift of desperation, and I just wanted to quit, man. I really had the willingness, and so I was going to meetings, got a sponsor. He told me that I should go to detox. He was bringing meetings down to detox, and I was like 3 weeks sober, and I'm bringing meetings down to detox twice a week, talking to addicts that just got either Marchman acted, some of them Baker acted, but mainly Marchman acted, or they came in on their own free will, looking to get sober, and looking for help. So it was fresh. And for me, I don't know if I helped anybody sharing my story for 3 weeks. I didn't really talk much for the first few months. But, it just kept it so green for me. And every week I would see what it was like to go back out and use again. And it was a constant reminder. And I just fell in love with the program. I put the work in, did my steps, and I started chairing meetings. I started going to different, men's meetings. I went all over with meetings. I even did a couple NA meetings. I met a few people in my recovery, speaking and stuff, that they were, went to AA or NA, sorry. So, they'd have an anniversary, and I'd go and, catch a meeting every once in a while. But, even though drugs were, well, I mean, honestly, everything was my problem, so it doesn't really matter where you go. So I don't need to justify why I chose AA over NA. And it was really a personal issue too. I just thought that I would better be suited with, I just thought that being around older people that got tired of fucking their lives up would inspire me to not fuck my life up, because at the time I was like 43 years old. And I just really couldn't, figure out my life. I kept fucking it up, and so I got sober, didn't use, was in the program, I did, like I said, I did my steps. I did all kinds of service work. I went out to meetings. I, did a lot of homeless work. People, experiencing homelessness. I spoke to people that are due diagnosed. I got a job out because of going to detox, and everybody liked me there. Well, not everybody, of course. Not everybody likes you, but a lot of people liked me because I was very, very passionate. I mean, like I spoke in a couple of the interviews I did when I went to detox. When I got into detox, like the program, after about like 8 months or whatever, I was just, maybe even sooner, but I was just getting real aggressive and passionate about bringing meetings there. I really worked on what I was going to talk about. I didn't want to, because, let me back up, because when I first got into the program, I had so many things that I was exposed to in the program that would make people go out and drink or use or whatever. Like, for instance, when I first started taking meetings when I first started being a part of the detox, taking meetings out there, I remember going out with this guy, and he was like fucking pumping Xanax in him, and still fucked up. He would nod out at these meetings that he was chairing, and he was bringing it to detox, and it was so fucking embarrassing. And I didn't know what to do. I was like a fucking month or two sober, right? So anyway, he would even argue with some of the fucking patients in there, and it wasn't even about that. People, and this is, I'll share, but, being exposed to this, and then a lot of other people that were lying about their sobriety, which, I met a guy in the program, was like kind of a, real straight, narrow, AA, just like a AA military guy, whatever you want to call it. But, and he was right. He said, why are you surprised that people are lying about their sobriety? We're in a room full of liars, thieves, and, drug addicts. He goes, of course they're lying. So, that kind of made sense to me. And then, I saw through all that bullshit, because I really, at the end of the day, at that point right there, I just wanted to get sober. So, and I didn't want to go, I didn't want to be like this guy pretending that he was sober, going to meetings, and meanwhile he's still using. And he would go on about, the drugs that he was using while he was on the drugs. It was so crazy. So they nipped that in the bud. That guy went back out, never came back in, whatever. But that's just, he just didn't have the willingness. And I think seeing that stuff, being so close to that, and then being around, other kind of fuck ups in the program, I was trying not to do those things. And so anyway, so I did all the things that I was supposed to do in the program. I went to so many meetings. I chaired so many meetings. I talked on the phone to so many people. I was really just giving back in service because it was keeping me sober. And, I was just getting into a point in my recovery where, I was looking around the rooms, and I felt like I was just listening to people bitch about their lives, and they knew the solution, but they would still bitch about it. It's like that definition of insanity that they say, these people would be still coming to meetings after like fucking 20, 30 years of sobriety, bitching about their fucking feelings, and, how life was like, maybe they got, I don't know, fucking anything, broke up with a girlfriend, lost a job, fucking stubbed your toe. It just seemed like a lot of times it was just people complaining, and it just got old to me, and I was looking around the rooms, and I was seeing guys lying about their sobriety once again, but they were also fucking in positions where they shouldn't have been, a treasurer, these fucking responsible jobs that they had, in AA. These people were fucking using and still being a part of this. And then I was seeing guys prey on like women coming into the rooms, always preying on that, basically chasing off a lot of females. In particular, at this one club I was a member of, I saw time and time again, and then I even heard the story of this guy that was there with like 30 years of sobriety, fucking getting girls drunk, taking them back to his fucking camper in the woods because that's how he lived, and he would fucking, either rape these girls or put them in positions where he was taking pictures of them and shit. And then I would have to like be at meetings with these people and fucking I left those rooms. I went to different meetings. I went to 6 different meetings at that one club, to kind of see. But they are everywhere. They're everywhere. And I don't know if it's just fucking in this area in Volusia County because I can only speak on this. I went to about 4 different clubs regularly, and a lot of that shit was going on, especially with men preying on women, dude. It's fucking crazy. And I know experience where I had a good friend of mine. She got sexually assaulted basically by a guy she was dating, and her fucking sponsor ended up fucking dating the guy after, it was her sponsor for like years. And she shared all her fucking, most intimate parts of her lives, and she's fucking the guy that fucking raped her basically. Anyway, so many of this shit was going on. People, bitching and complaining. And then, I would always give my piece to be positive, and people started kind of getting more annoyed by that too, because I was like, just saying that, I came here to solve problems. I didn't come here to, bitch about my problems because I know what the answer is. It's to fucking find the solution. I mean, if you have a problem, you just find a solution. Instead of bitching about it, and like wasting all that energy, which I did for fucking years. I mean, I'm guilty as charged, victimizing my life. I'm just saying where I'm at now, my mindset, I look at it and think, but these guys with all these years of sobriety, 3 decades, 2 decades. Anyway, so these things were bothering me, and then I was like, here we are, going to meetings, people are getting rewarded for doing the right thing, and I don't know. So anyway, I just stopped going. I didn't want to go anymore, because the drinking and the drugs stopped for me. I didn't fucking drink and I didn't do drugs for those 4 years I was there, the obsession went away, but I had to figure out like who I was, like these voices in my head, these behaviors, the way I would react to the things I would think about all the time. And once the drinking and drugs got put away, then the real work, because there was no fucking curtain there anymore. There was nothing to hide of who I was as a person. And I couldn't figure it out. I tried a lot of different things. I got into meditation. I got into cold baths, which I do both still. I got into breath work. I got into writing, journaling, which I do every day. And I just couldn't stop reacting to the way I was just behaving. Everything was about me. I was so selfish still. And I'm always going to be selfish. That's just, people say they're not selfish. They're full of shit. So anyway, I really needed to just fucking learn how to deal with my thoughts, basically. So anyway, I started I started this job. I was working, which I'm still at. And I spent a lot of time working different like jobs. So I'm on either a wet saw, whatever. I'm just, I'm doing basically repetitive work all day long, different jobs throughout the day, whatever. So I'm allowed to listen to, my headphones. So I start listening to a lot of podcasts about bettering yourself. And, I just really wanted to find something, I just wanted to figure out how I could be happy, really. I'm not even happy. Well, yeah, at that time, it was happiness, but now I know it's inner peace. But so I was looking for happiness. I was just looking for, not to be bickering and not to be whatever. So I'm watching all these podcasts and I'm learning about psychedelics. And I'm not going to go deep into this video on them, but I was curious and I read a few books on them. I was reading some literature and I was seeing MAPS was doing some therapy, which, you know, now if you do research, psilocybin, there's a lot of therapeutical uses out there. I just watched a documentary the other night Vice had put out there a couple weeks ago talking about it being a new antidepressant. So anyway, that being said, I'm reading about it. Of course I took mushrooms, LSD, when I was younger, but you know, it's for recreational partying. I never thought about it as being therapeutical. So I did a lot of research, and I started to experiment with mushrooms and DMT and LSD, which I just like the mushrooms. I just feel like they're more natural, and I didn't want to get into using things that were synthetic. And I found too, anyway, with my DMT, I did like about 2 months of weekly sessions. Probably did like 20 sessions, and those are so intense that you need time to like journal and reflect and stuff. So those things, I'm still kind of processing a lot of those, and that was like about 2 years ago, I think, 2 or maybe even longer. So, but the mushrooms, the psilocybin, I started doing high doses of that once a week and really focusing on, you know, changing my thoughts and dealing with my trauma that I never dealt with. I talked about it, but I really never dealt with it. I was holding on all this. So anyway, a few sessions of, you know, higher dose mushrooms, and I ended up having an enlightenment kind of experience where I had a spiritual awakening, and I realized that all this stuff, I was able to open up my brain and my thoughts in a state of consciousness that I never was able to get through meditation and anything else I tried. So I remember during my therapy, I started listening to more books, and I got this book by Michael Singer, and I swear to God, this changed my whole life. Michael Singer, if you Google him, he's kind of like, you know, he come up with this yoga studio. It's not even a studio, but anyway, he's just a very successful man, but he was a teacher. And anyway, he breaks it down in this book called The Untethered Soul. I mean, I don't even have anything in common with, and it wasn't like this kind of David Goggins, Wes Watson kind of yelling at you with the hard truths that I like. That's what gets me going. But he was just explaining your thoughts and how you need to sit back and watch them like a movie. And instead of reacting, just analyze them and go, hey man, you know, instead of thinking, like, I always thought that I could stop the way of thinking, like stop these negative thoughts or whatever. And I realized through his practice in his book that you don't stop, you just learn how to deal with them and not react to them, and kind of like a movie. And I don't know what it was, man. That just clicked in. I read that book in a day. I listened to that book in a day, and I listened to it twice actually, because it had such a profound, it was so profound on my life, man. It was life-changing. At that moment, I started utilizing these practices, and I wasn't really good at it. And then I just started like stopping, listening to, even when someone's talking, and then I'm thinking to myself, I'm disagreeing with what they're saying, and instead of like interrupting them so that I could fucking spit what I'm saying, I just, in my head, I'm going, it doesn't matter. I don't need to be right in this conversation. Just let this person talk. Become more of an active listener. And this is a narrative that I might have to go through in my head. So instead of reacting, go, that's fucking stupid. You're an idiot. I mean, because that's not any way to conduct yourself as like with a conversation. So, but that's how I used to be. I used to be so violent, and not that I'm not violent now. I am, but I have restraints. So it's different. Before I didn't. Someone cut me off in traffic or flip me off, I would chase after them. I would always want to be confrontational with people and try to intimidate them or whatever. And it's just not the way to be. You don't have to be that kind of person. So going through some therapy, myself, and learning, journaling, breaking everything down. And I'm not recommending this to anyone because I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you, I'm sharing my experiences with you. So yeah, I was just so amazed. It was life-changing to me. I did some heroic doses for probably off and on for about a year. And now I just like to microdose, small amounts, gives me some clarity, gives me some energy, some natural energy, and you don't feel any of the mind alternating effects, any of the psychosis of, changing a little bit. You're just more aware, and I have a lot of energy, and I'm able to focus throughout the day. And it's just actually made me a much kinder person. And, with that being said, that had opened up a lot of my thinking, and it kept me in this mindset that, I'm not that important. Life is not about me, and I just need to set the example. And, with having a family and children and wanting to, be the best dad I can be, and just be the best husband I can be. And just really, honestly, everybody that comes into my life that I have even a meaningless conversation with them, I want them to feel my energy. I want them to, I want to be a benefit to their lives. I don't want them to go, oh, here comes that fucking Craig guy. He's a moan and complaining, and it just drags people down. And those people that drag you down. So, so now I just utilize all the principles I learned in recovery. I still use them every day. Like I still utilize most of those principles every day. I don't feel like I'm an addict anymore. I don't have any kind of cravings to use or whatever. And I just know where I'm at today, that I'm just truly blessed. Because I learned so much, in the past couple years, to have more gratitude and be grateful for every day. And now I live each day like it's my last, because we're not guaranteed to wake up, and I just want to utilize, everything every minute of the day. I just want to utilize it. I want to better myself, and I want to be the example for my kids, really, and I want to be an example to my wife, and I want to help others, and this is why I'm sharing this, man. So if something that I say can help you, and that's what we need to do, man. We need to help others through our experiences, and that's all we can do. That's all I can do is share what I know that helped me. And but I know that the key to getting recovered and staying sober and living a life of fulfillment and having inner peace, that is done through just having the willingness to want to better yourself. And each day you have to have the willingness. So that's the most important thing. And I tell people all the time, man, I have so many people message me throughout the week, saying, hey, man, they're either struggling or they know someone else is struggling. And, I tell them, man, you have to just have the willingness to want to change. And it has to be you deciding this. You can't be forced into it. You can't interrupt someone's using. That's why I never really ever saw the Marchman Act, where they just, your parent just, gets you put into detox, forces you to get into detox. Those people, they always were mad. They never wanted to stop. You can't interrupt someone stopping. The stats on how many people are saved through the Marchman Act are super low. And I saw it in the year I worked there that there's hardly anybody that really wanted to change. And the people that really wanted to change, they didn't have the insurance, or they might not have had the benefits of the help that they could have used, because we live in this world, man, where programs for people in recovery. I mean, people that are experience homelessness. I mean, especially in Florida, what I see around this area, we don't have the greatest programs, and and that's tricky for someone that doesn't have anybody. So we really need to dig deep into ourselves. We always can find the answers in ourselves. And one thing that I learned that was the most important in my whole journey is I found now I can be totally honest with myself, and I know who I am now, and I'm all right with that, and I'm a work in progress each day, and I know that I just have to put in that work each day. And I hope I hope this video could help someone. We've got a few different videos on. I shared my meth monster story. I shared my the OxyContin story, my nightmare with those pills, and then I've had some interviews with Tony, Shane, and then Chris shared his perspective on addiction through losing a son. And so yeah, check those videos out. Please like and subscribe. I hope that this video was helpful, and I really appreciate the support of the channel, and thanks guys.